Hey, I'm Russ.
And I'm Steve.
Growing up in the 80s, we were introduced to video games, movies, and technology that made a lasting impression on us and forever enriched our lives.
I think I'm gonna cry.
It's been a fascinating journey to be a part of, one that we constantly treasure.
Higher, booty.
Our goal is simple: share our magical moments of discovery and geek out with lovely folks, just like you.
Achievement unlocked.
So if you crave pixel goodness, memorable moments, and experiences that make your inner child do the happy dance, you've come to the right place.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Joygasm.
Ah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Joygasm. My name is Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and I'm here once again with my spud of a brother, Steve, a.k.a. Xbox Live Stevavitch.
How's it going, Russ?
Oh! Doing mighty fine now, Stevie, mighty fine.
Good, that's good.
You know, this is episode 6 on this May 17th, 2017. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty good that we're just kind of trucking along, wouldn't you say?
Cranking out these episodes.
Absolutely.
1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay.
So how you been?
Well, Russ, I gotta tell you.
Oh!
I got something on my mind. I was playing Overwatch.
Ooh.
Again the other night. You were busy something, I don't know. Maybe with the wife. Doing mommy and daddy things. I don't know what you were doing, Russ. I don't get into your business. You want to know what happened?
I would love to know what happened.
Okay, so here's the thing. I started playing competitive again.
Oh, back into competitive mode.
Back into competitive. Okay.
Are you still in silver?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And here's the thing. So we're playing, and everyone's shooting, having a grand old time, emoting.
Having a blasty blast?
Yeah. And so I noticed this one guy is playing May. And he's just sabotaging the whole entire...
On your team?
Yes. He's putting up ice walls in front of us. Everywhere we go, all he's doing is going out in front of the enemy going, hey, 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 hey. And I'm going, what are you doing? And every time like someone would die and have to go respawn, he would run back to the respawn point and just go, ha. And then... and then when we were running out, he put up the ice wall again, right? So when the enemy is in the objective and gaining all this points and time and whatnot,
yeah.
So he's basically stalling us. He's purposely sabotaging the whole entire thing on purpose. And so
you got a gamer troll.
I know. So I get on the mic because we lose one round and it was 2 rounds, right? So I get on the mic and I said, okay, the character who's playing May, and I said the guy's name.
SOB that's playing May.
Okay, listen up, people. Yeah. We got a traitor in our midst. And I said his name. I forgot what his name is.
Yeah.
And so I said, everybody go report this guy. Because he's sabotaging the whole thing. We're going to lose because of this guy. Not because anybody else is playing bad.
Yeah.
But because this guy. And so he was on the mic too. And he says, oh, yeah, I'm going to go vote against myself. And I think, I'm going to say something to him. I can't let this go. And so I was like, what are you doing, dude? I'm like, why are you making us lose? He says, to lower my rank.
To lower his rank?
To lower my rank. And I'm thinking, like, I want to win.
Do you think he was being facetious?
No, absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Well, first let me finish the conversation.
Okay.
So I'm like, why? Because I think I want to win. Everybody on the team wants to win.
Yeah.
The objective is to win.
Right.
And so he says to play or to lower my rank. And I said, so you're making the rest of us sacrifice. You're making us all lower our scores, basically.
You're having this whole debate while the countdown timer of the choose a character screen.
I am. Yes. And so I don't know who can hear us and who cannot hear us. I started hearing like thumbs up, like, you know, someone was junk routing going, good night, Coppa, you know, sort of thing. And so people were hearing us. So I said, you're going to make us all sacrifice just for your little personal gain. And he goes, oh, that's just the side effect. I said, of you wanting to just to take on lower ranked people? And he says, yup. I just unplugged the mic at that point, and by that time, since I didn't select a character, it just ejected me out. But I reported the guy, and I hope everybody else did. But here's the thing. I'd see it on Clash Royale, too.
Oh.
Where, because you can get, these little loot boxes, trophy boxes, that sort of thing. And the easier people you can demolish, you still get the loot, right?
Yeah.
And so it's becoming kind of a thing. Instead of going out to win, it's all about, like, the loot. And like, you're like who's the guy in Toy Story 1 who was torturing all the toys and everything? Was it Seth? Sid.
Yeah.
So you're like Sid. Those are the people who are, it's like these parasites. You know what I mean? I mean, that ruins the game.
That is fascinating to listen to because I have not really thought about that before. I mean, the whole concept of just actually purposely trying to lower your rank. I mean, everybody I've talked to, they're in this hot pursuit to try and get as high as possible. So,
yeah, and plus enjoy the game too.
Yeah. You always kind of question humanity when you come across people like that. Like, how would that person be in a world of The Walking Dead?
Right.
Let's
just toss him to the zombies, make all of our lives
better.
better.
I mean, like, he'd be the one schmuck in the group where, like, everyone's trying to survive, and he's like, I just don't feel like defending myself. I'm just gonna go over here and just be bait or whatever it is.
Exactly.
I just don't feel like going on anymore. And you're just like, well, good riddance, you punk.
Yeah, what's the meaning of life anymore? Zombies over here. Right? Going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I want to survive.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, Steve. That sounds a little headache-inducing.
I had to get that off my chest, Russ. I feel better.
I'm good. I'm glad.
Thank you for listening to me.
I like to listen to you, Steve.
Okay.
What else is going on in the world of Stevavitch?
Well, I went on to my next game now that I beat Assassin's Creed.
That's right. I remember you saying how you beat Assassin's Creed, Steve.
So I went on to start Battlefield 1.
In earnest, I hope.
I cranked the sound.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that far because I was enjoying just being immersed
Just
into
the
the
visceral
game.
environment, yeah.
Right. Because I remember when you and I started playing the game, and we only got past the first level, but we kind of had to watch it because family was over and whatever.
Yeah. Couldn't crank it to 11 at that point.
Oh man! So I cranked it up, and I mean the entry, the first level of the game hopefully sets the mood for the entire thing, because it's different than any other shooter I've played. Granted, you're still shooting people, but DICE put sound effects for everything. And so you hear the shells falling, and whether they're falling on dirt or they're falling on metal, like, after you're firing.
Oh, yeah.
Or, the tanks revving up with the diesel engines. Or if you're crawling, like on your stomach, you can hear like the dirt and the leaves and stuff.
The sludge.
Yeah, you're schlepping along in the dirt, and you can hear all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's awesome.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. I haven't gone all the way past the first level yet, but I'm stoked. Like, I'm excited. I can't wait to play it.
I can't wait to get back into that game either, because I remember you brought it over and we just barely played the introduction, which had a lasting effect. I actually really liked the approach that DICE took with that, where you're kind of leaping in between soldiers. Like, every time you die, it has a moment there where it shows how long that person lived, and I felt the weight of just the consequences regarding that, just the gravity of the situation, where it was no longer just, oh, I'm playing this sweet first-person shooter game and I just died and whatever. You get used to that just respawning thing, and that really added a sobering dose of realism to it. And it just, at some point, I would love to be able to borrow that game so I can actually play all the way through and enjoy it, because everybody who I've talked to who has played it has just had nothing but great things to say.
Right. And I remember when you first started it and the whole scene was set. It says, this is what's going on and whatever. And then it says, like, the last line, You are not expected to survive. And I'm thinking,
Oh, yeah.
and then I remember you playing, and I thought, all right, Russ didn't survive, but I'm gonna survive. Yeah, no, like it. There's no health packs.
Right.
There's only limited ammo,
Yeah.
and there's an onslaught of enemies coming at you, and you're
Not to be confused with anemones.
and your allies start dropping, and the enemy's still there, and they're all looking at you because you're the last man standing. You're like, what's gonna happen? It's yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm pumped.
Yeah. That actually. How far are you? Did you say you're not that far?
I'm not that far. You remember when? So after that whole scene where you jump between characters,
yeah.
and then you're in the tank.
Right.
So I'm still in the tank, but I kind of blasted my way through the first little part there.
The game is so
and
gorgeous.
then it's like the second part of the first level is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to kind of pick it apart because I'm looking for little defects in the game. I can't help it, but I'm looking for it, and I can't find many. One I did find though, Rod.
Which one was that, Steve?
There's a water effect, right? You have water kind of. So it's muddy, right?
Wouldn't expect to see a lot of pristine Alhambra water in there, Steve.
No. So if you were to look out into a lake or a pond, you would see a little ripple effect, right? Because the water does what the water does.
Unless it's placid.
Unless it's placid. Well, so they have that little algorithm or animation or whatever they do in there, but it's for every little small bit of water. So if like somebody steps in the mud and then, continues walking away and the water fills in where his shoe is, you see all these ripple effects where his shoe was.
Yeah, the displacement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, no, they keep on going. They don't just like ripple out and that's it. They keep on rippling and rippling and rippling and rippling. I'm like, it's not that windy.
Oh, so it actually didn't, what is it? I forgot what the word is.
The water didn't be like dissipate or still or
Yeah.
nothing like that. It was
It just kept going?
Yes, kept going. Rip, 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 rip.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, that's surprising.
But then again, I'm critical.
Well, Steve, I'd be a little bewildered if I was out in real life and I decided to take a little splash in a puddle and the water just perpetually kept rippling. Probably would have thought I was in the Matrix. So what else you been up to?
Well, you're making me talk a lot, Russ. Let me get a little drink
I
here.
just like the sultry sound of your voice there, Steve. You're so excited. You're a very excited man.
Tonight I am. Whatever. Yeah. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. Oh.
I feel better. I'm getting hot, Russ. I'm getting hot. I was venting.
You seem kind of, hot and bothered there, Steve.
So, I finished up season 4 of House of Cards.
House of Cards. This has been a long time coming because I remember discussing with you the last... Well, we didn't really discuss it, but I remember you had told me you were only about 1 or 2 episodes away from finishing the season, and I told you how I was very curious to hear your thoughts once you finished it. So please, continue.
Well, I was trying to space them out because there's only like 12 episodes or 14 episodes or whatever it was. And I can binge watch it all, but then it's done, right? I've seen the whole thing.
Right.
So I was trying to space them out like once a month. And then I got greedy and I started doing once a week. And thank goodness, because season 5, season 5 is coming out this month, Russ.
I know.
May 30th.
You finished it just in time.
Just in time. I didn't even plan it that way. It just kind of happened.
I can't get just enough of Frank Underwood. I really do love him.
A show is good when you can watch the trailers and it brings you right back and they can tell the whole thing within just 1 minute, 1 to 3 minutes. I mean, 'cause I was watching all the trailers for like season 1, season 2, all the way up to season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. If anybody hasn't watched that show, you gotta give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
And that rhymes. I didn't mean that to rhyme.
Look at this guy. He's a poet. He's a natural, this guy.
So, anyway, And that's the thing. That last episode was only 45 minutes, but it seemed to last like 2 hours. They crammed a lot
Yeah, they did.
into that show.
Yeah. Yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about it because it's still pretty recent. We don't want to
Yeah.
spoil it for anybody who
No.
hasn't seen
Right.
that part yet. But I'm glad that you saw it, and I'm glad that you loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounded like you were pretty impressed.
Oh.
Like it's certainly a cliffhanger, isn't it?
It's certainly a cliffhanger. But the thing that's great about the show too is from season 1 all the way up to season 4, the show has not lost any momentum.
Right.
I mean, you just dive further and further into these characters, and you love it.
I think there was one season that I personally thought was a little weaker than the rest. It may have been like season 2. It's been a while since I've watched it, but there was one season which I thought that it kind of floundered is too strong of a word, but it just didn't. It wasn't toe to toe with the others. But then thankfully, I mean, the season after that just totally went back to how season 1, caught my attention and didn't ever let go. So I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite shows.
Did you know?
Oh, what?
It's based off, excuse me, let me see. Britain made the show first. It's in the 70s, but it's the same thing.
Huh.
It's literally the same story. And I saw it as I was searching on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I thought, did they just make one too? Because the Americans made one? Like, what in the world is this? So I clicked on it, and it's old footage, of course. It's like literally 70s footage or 80s footage. And there's an older guy, and he's in Parliament, and he's talking to the camera like Frank Underwood talks to the camera, and he's like the whip, and he's talking to all the politicians and whatnot. It's the exact same thing, only it's British style.
Where'd you hear about this?
I saw it.
Well,
I clicked. I started watching. I watched.
It's so animated.
I started watching the first show, and I don't want to start getting into it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I had to see how I had to compare it.
So wait, so let me get this straight. So did you?
Yeah, Russ.
Was this suggested to you on
No.
Netflix, or did you happen to stumble upon this on YouTube, or what?
While I was on my Netflix list,
Yeah.
I didn't see House of Cards there.
Okay.
So I went, I'll just search for it then. So I searched for it, and then it brought up House of Cards. House of Cards
What? It even has the same name.
has the exact same name.
Interessante. My goodness.
Yes.
Well, maybe it was meant to be, Steve. Perhaps you have been called to watch that version as well.
Well, I mean, if I need something to watch between now and May 30th, I could always watch that one.
Anything else you've been watching or playing?
No, but I did find out that.
You're pregnant?
How did you know?
Oh. I did notice your nipples look a little hard.
Oh, jeez.
Are they sore?
No.
Oh!
Yesterday marked the 31st anniversary of Top Gun.
Boom.
Yeah, I was trying to remember how that song went. Like,
What?
I was starting to see the opening scene.
How could you not remember the national?
No. I thought you were talking about the opening scene, not the ending.
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, it's the same song. It's just I fast forwarded so you'd know the part of the Top Gun anthem.
All I can think about was that Kenny Loggins.
Not that part.
I know, but that's what I'm thinking about right now with Top Gun.
You're thinking Danger Zone.
I'm thinking Danger Zone.
Have you ever seen that music video, by the way?
Yes, I have. It's kind of disturbing.
It totally is disturbing. It's like you see like this, I don't know, 80s scrawny Kenny Loggins writhing on a bed, feeling himself as he's singing the lyrics. I'm like,
Thinking about Top Gun.
what the heck is going on here? Kind of awkward. Yeah, gotta love the 80s.
What's your turn, Russ?
Well,
You been playing anything? You been watching anything?
I have.
Why don't you say something interesting for once?
Interesting for once.
I love you, Russ. You know I do.
So I think the biggest game that I've been playing, and I just started playing it last night, is Injustice 2. I downloaded it. I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, and
Aren't you cool?
I'm pretty spiffy like that. I actually did not play the first one. When it came out, I was not too impressed by the visuals of it. and just felt like because it was a new IP, they may need some time to actually get to grips with like what it was they were trying to achieve. So I waited, and I'm glad that I waited till the sequel because it's a sweet game. It's really good. I had high hope, well, not high hopes, but I could see like it had some major potential just based on the fact that NetherRealm Studios are the developers behind the game, and they're the same ones who did Mortal Kombat. So they already have this history, this pedigree of doing fighting games. And I have a lot of comments that I'd like to share with you.
I've been commenting on everything so far.
Yeah. So Injustice 2, where do I begin?
Yes, and Justice 2 with the pedigrees. Yes, of course, Russ, get right ahead. I'm listening to you.
I will begin with the story. So one of the things that I thought was a bit of a kind of a weakness of the Mortal Kombat X game that had come out recently, not recently, but just a little while back, was the story mode itself was a little, not lame, but just it felt like an afterthought. Like, oh, we need a story mode, so let's put this together. And the production values were just kind of subpar. It was actually weird. It was like, typically I'm used to watching, when you watch an in-game cinematic, not a pre-rendered cinematic, but like an in-game cinematic, typically game engines will have tools that will allow developers to like actually create cinematics that use more of the real-time graphics and lighting and that sort of thing. What's ironic is that typically those scenes look better than the actual gameplay itself. Like, for instance, I'll use Halo as an example. If you're watching like an in-game cinematic where you see Master Chief strolling up to some control panel or whatever, you can tell that they have applied some filters, some extra, cool guy lighting, that sort of thing to give it a little more polish. And then when you play the game, when you get back to the gameplay, you realize, oh, it's slightly not as cool. It's just bizarre because in the Mortal Kombat games, and even to a certain extent with Injustice 2, the cinematics actually look worse. And then when you're playing the game, the gameplay actually looks better. And so that was definitely a head-scratching moment for me, just kind of taking that in. Having said that, the cinematics and the story mode in Injustice 2 is much more well thought out in terms of what Mortal Kombat offered initially. So I am making my way through the story mode. The graphics are an interesting part to kind of dissect. It's interesting. I'm still processing through it. So here's the deal. The graphics themselves are... Okay, I'll start with the background. The backgrounds are gorgeous. Like, each level is really well thought out. It's really great.
For Injustice
2. And the characters, however, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. Harley Quinn is fantastic. Like, just the way that they designed her, they nailed Harley Quinn. They have embodied her, the persona, the soul of Harley Quinn, the look, her uniform, her costumes that I've seen, fantastic. But then I look at the Joker, and the Joker is absolutely terrible. Like, it doesn't look like Joker at all. It literally looks like someone cosplaying as the Joker if you were to go to Comic-Con. Only they're doing their own kind of lame spin on the character. Like, the Joker is so iconic. You have to really be careful not to stray too far from what everybody knows him to be, right, and celebrates his look and that sort of thing. Yeah, they totally missed the mark. I mean, it was really bad. In terms of other characters, though, like, I felt like Batman actually looked pretty cool. I will say that the art direction in Batman Arkham Knight by Rocksteady Studios is still my favorite when it comes to the Batman characters. I mean, they just, in my opinion, they nailed every character. I mean, every character in Arkham Knight just looks badass. There's a certain maturity to them and sophistication and lifelike vibe that I still, to this day, I'm just blown away by. In Injustice 2, with the way that Batman looks, he does look pretty cool. There are certain things that I have issues with, like the cape is not flowy enough. It feels too stiff. In fact, all the characters who have capes in the game, they just, I would have really appreciated to see some sort of cloth dynamics in there, and they just didn't have that. And especially considering after playing, once again, Batman Arkham Knight, where like they really did a nice job evolving the cape. I mean, the cape really does animate nicely in that game. And that game is by now, what 2 years old?
Right.
Maybe 2 to 3 years old?
Right.
So, from that standpoint, it's just, like I said, it goes back and forth. Apparently, there are a lot of characters. I haven't seen all the characters yet, because like I said, I'm going through the story mode. And what's nice is that they're kind of slowly doling out the characters. And there's this overarching story that goes along with it. But you're constantly, you're going to play... You start with Batman, and then you start playing as Harley Quinn for a little while, and then you play as Black Canary, and then, like, recently I was playing as the Flash. And so you're getting to taste like the different fighting styles of these different characters have. And luckily, like the Flash is like super fun to play. Swamp Thing is really cool. I haven't even played him, but I played against him. I fought him, and he's got all kinds of sweet moves and whatnot. The gameplay mechanics are very tight. And for me as a newbie, I'm not used to just how to string together combos yet. I'm just kind of blindly flailing my fists and feet and hoping I land punches. And every once in a while, I'll randomly come up with a combo, or I'll do a special move, and it'll be exciting. But I'm going to be investing time into the game in order to get to those 20 hit combos, 30 hit combos, whatever. One of the gratifying things is that there is a kind of a ultimate, if you will, type of move. I don't know if they call it super move or something else, but essentially you charge it up as you fight each other back and forth. When you max it out, you can execute it, and if you can successfully execute it without the opposing player blocking you, then they go through this huge cinematic thing where, like, they could take half your life away, and it's just this grandiose, over the top awesomeness. And each character has their own unique version of that. So it's fun to be able to unlock that, and it helps to get kind of the aggression out when you're playing it. And especially if you're playing as a character that's really annoying and you just launch it, you're like, "Oh, take that!" So yeah, there's a lot to take in from the game, and I'm just scratching the surface of it. I think I'll have more to say in the coming days and weeks as I'm able to play more of it. But I mean, like I got to say, like, IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, and I would say it's right around there. I would say 8.5 to 9. And again, that's without me trying out the online mode. They also have this other mode too, where like you can gain different types of gear and uniforms, and just, so it's kind of cool that you can upgrade your skins. It keeps it that much more interesting, and you can fashion your characters in certain ways. And actually, since I bought the Ultimate Edition, they are supposed to be releasing over time 9 additional characters on top of the ones they already have, which I think they have somewhere like 20 characters already, something like that. I'll have to double check on the actual number. But the other thing worth mentioning is the animation. One of the high marks that Injustice 2 gets from me is the fact that the facial animation is extremely well done. There are some very lifelike expressions. Once again, using Harley Quinn as an example, I absolutely enjoyed watching her say her lines. Like, just, there is so much detail and articulation in her face that is evoked when she's saying her lines. And of course, they got the same actress who's been doing Harley Quinn's voice from like Batman the Animated Series and whatnot to come in. I think it's the same actress actually who did it for Batman Arkham Knight, because they got Kevin Conroy to do the voice of Batman. So there are certain characters that have their respective voice talent.
How is the facial animation in this game compared to like Mafia 3? Even though Mafia 3 was kind of a game, the facial animations were, or at least for the cutscenes, were spot on. Like, they were good.
After we get done doing this podcast, I'll show you. I'll show you the game, because it's some of the best facial animation I've seen in a while. I would, thinking about the various games that have come out over the years, one of the high points animation-wise when it comes to facial animations was Rise, Son of Rome. And that was a graphic tour de force. That was definitely like a benchmark graphics demo of what the Xbox One was capable of. But one of the things that always stood out to me was anytime you saw them talking, I mean, it looked great. Like every time someone was talking, I was just taking that in. I was drinking in like all the efforts that the animation team had put into it. And no other game since that time that I can think of off the top of my head that was not pre-rendered. We're talking, in-game graphics here. Has been as memorable until Injustice 2. And so my hat goes off to the animation team who worked on that, because that's, again, it's that gets back and forth thing. We're like, the facial animations are absolutely fantastic, but then I'll look at the cape animations that are like all stiff and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
All right. And I suppose if I had to choose, I would go the way that they went, which is, just give that TLC to the face. Let them be able to really go to town with all those emotions and whatnot. So, yeah, that was a game I was playing. Of course, you and I were playing, as you mentioned earlier, some Overwatch. Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of fun. Although there were certain times where, once again, I just don't get it. I do not understand like how some matches will play. We just get...
It's just the turn of the tide.
I just don't get it.
You know what? That brings me back to where my venting. And I want to make a point. Blizzard needs to bring out a way for the team to unanimously ban somebody or like vote them off the island, because otherwise what's the point of playing the match if you're just going to be hurt by it?
Yeah.
If you're going to put forth 100% effort but someone else is doing negative 100%, you're left at 0. Mm-hmm. And what's the use of playing the game? And when you report somebody on Xbox Live, you don't know what's going to happen. They might just kind of get a little slap on the wrist, and that's about it. And this guy did have like a bunch of marks next to his reputation, but he was still playing, like, still causing whatever it happened.
Riff-raff.
Thank you. So if the whole entire team can somehow, pause or go into social option, and then unanimously ban the guy, maybe somebody else is left in matchmaking wonderment, like, I waited 5 minutes to join a match and I'm ready to go. Waiting for his opportunity. He could jump right in and there you go. You guys are back at 100%.
Counter-Strike did that way back in the day. Whenever I played Counter-Strike back in college and there was someone who was just being an idiot, the teams...
Oh, Russ, language.
Idioto! But yeah, like they had that feature available so that if someone was not being an active participant on the team and even worse, they were just, causing the team to lose on purpose, that sort of thing, you could ban them. You would either have someone who created the game who would have administrative privileges to be able to ban the person, or there would be a voting off the island option where you could have people who just, if enough people, click that ban button, then he or she was gone. And that worked out well. It actually, it worked in a very judicious manner. And it was, when I first hear about it, you would think, oh, well, people will abuse that. Well, no, actually, it worked out really well because the majority of people want to play the game. They want to have a good time playing it. And if they're going to lose fair and square, then so be it. Like then you've been bested by people who are a bit better than you at the game, but give it your best shot. Don't have somebody cutting you off at the knees, and it's just not fun.
It's understandable if somebody sucks at the game, but they're trying.
Suck.
But they're trying their hardest to make an effort and help the team out. You can understand, if you lose because of a couple people, but they're trying. Yeah. But to have somebody, like I said, sabotage the whole, just bad taste in the back of my mouth.
Well, the good news is that...
What's the good news, Russ?
The other 50% of the time, we actually did have good games, and...
We did.
We were able to divide and conquer the way that I used to do it. So, that was good.
That's real good.
I don't think I had any really massive plays. I know you got play of the game quite a few times playing the old Torbjorn there, Steve.
Yeah, but it wasn't nothing special. Thank goodness for his turret that auto aims, because
I love that one that you got playing the game where like we're just watching you trying to catch up to where the action is, and like, you shot absolutely nobody, but your
Right.
turret was doing all the heavy lifting for you.
yeah, I spawned back in, and I could see that the flag was blipping, like as if someone was trying to steal it, but was getting shot and damaged. And I could hear my turret going, and so I thought, well, ultimate's ready, here it goes.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still like 5 minutes away. I got to run as fast as a dwarf can to catch up. So I just figured I'd do it, and sure enough.
can only carry me so far.
I'm so fast.
Actually, I did have a good play. What map was that? It was the one at nighttime. It was Nepal or something, but
Welcome to Nepal.
we were doing capture the flag, and I captured 2 of the flags, and nobody voted for me except for you. Remember at the end I made on there, and I was like, dude, where's the love?
I always vote for you, Russ.
It's very touching of you to do that for me, Steve.
Even if you didn't do anything, I would still vote for you.
Oh, that's some brotherly love right there, if I ever heard it.
Agape.
But yeah, I did have a little shining moment, even though I was shunned from the old votes. You know, I wonder if when you vote for somebody, does that actually add to your experience score?
I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
Or is it just a feel-good thing, like a pat on the back?
It's got to be a feel-good thing. I mean, it might add some experience, but not a whole lot. Because even if if the match is nothing special, I've been gaining about 2,000 experience to 2,700 experience. Even if I get play the game or I get voted, it's still around the same. Unless I do a lot of something like healing or, like this long kill streak or blocked a lot of damage or whatever like that, then that really adds up to your score. I can get, 3,000, 5,000, whatever.
Yeah.
But voting, getting to play the game or a most popular vote,
I have some... I'm sorry, I just belched.
not again.
A little gassy. Talking about these types of frustrations, it gives me gas.
That's great, Russ.
I don't like gas. It makes me bloated.
You want a gas X?
I don't like being bloated.
You want some Beano?
Good old-fashioned Beano. As a side anecdote to the Overwatch, I was looking at the amount of time that we have invested in the said game. And there was something that is kind of amusing. First of all, how many hours do you think that I have played Overwatch, Steve?
Well, Russ, you see, that's a little bit skewed.
I just want to know the number. Focus on the number.
Oh, I just was inhaling and you coughed. That's great. 105 hours.
More.
175.
More.
200.
More.
Well, Russ, I can only count so high. Why don't you just go ahead and tell us?
Well, Stephen, I was enjoying the singing morning dawn with my sweet tea and my Texas toast. And I was looking at my phone, I noticed that I had invested 260 hours in Overwatch. That's coming awfully close to my time with Witcher 3. Now, the thing, though, is you
What?
Pointing
at me.
have surpassed your brother in the total amount of hours that you've played Overwatch.
Ah, snap.
I can't remember the exact number. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. I think I don't want to misquote it. Let me just take a look. I'm going to take a little gander here.
Launch that Xbox app there and take a little look. See, if I'm not friend number 1, we're going to have problems. Oh, you just spit my eye when you did that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's take a little look here. type in the old Stevavitch. There we are.
That's with a V as in victory, not a B as in Bermuda Triangle.
Or bich, which is Latin for generosity. Okay, I'm having actually... I've got an issue, and I don't have a tissue.
I'm gonna touch you!
I mean... Okay, Overwatch, let's try it this way. I'm trying a different way. Compare with friends.
This is how you can tell the podcast is unedited and completely authentic.
Unedited. Time play. Okay, there's my time. Somebody came. Oh, I found it. I found it.
Okay.
You have surpassed me with a total of 291.
Yes!
So congratulations, my good man. You have surpassed your brother who got the game before you, and yeah. Way to go.
I've been climbing up the levels, Russ.
You have.
That's not to say my skill's getting any better, but that just means, I've been playing the game.
I thought it was worth mentioning, though. I was on the phone this morning with our good old friend Brad. And, he actually looked up, he was curious about how many hours he had put into the game because we were just on this Overwatch discussion. And I think he was just like, oh, well, I think I got about 50 hours in there. I'm like, 50 hours? Brad! I'm like, well, how many do I have? And so he looked up there and I said, I've been playing this thing quite a bit. And he was like, oh my gosh, you got 260 hours. And then I said, well, Steve's been nipping at my heels. I'm wondering how close he is. And so then he looked you up and he's like, no, he passed you. So I was proud of you.
Thank you, Russ.
Way to go.
Thank you.
And I don't see you stopping anytime soon. So I'm curious to see how many hours you will ultimately log into that, especially considering the fact that the Game of the Year edition is just right around the corner.
That's right.
Plenty of loot boxes filled with all kinds of gumdrop smiles and lollipop lanes.
I thought you were going to throw puppy dogs in there someplace.
No puppy dogs.
As reference to
we don't serve your kind here. Do you have any plans on seeing Vikings at all or not?
No, I don't, Russ.
You're not going to ever watch it?
Well, I might watch it.
You might watch it.
I might. Probably not soon. I'm curious. I will tell you that much.
Well, I'm not sure if I should tell you all the things that are going on. Or...
Well, what? Just go ahead because I got so much stuff going on right now, Russ. Minus my 290 hours of Overwatch.
Yeah.
I'm most likely I'm going to forget.
Okay. Well, Season 3 came out about 2 years ago. I think it was 2015 that it was released. And so I think it's safe to say, I suppose for those that are listening, if you have not watched Vikings, let alone Season 3, and you don't want spoilers, I would suggest you fast forward this podcast by a few minutes. But I think that most of the hardcore folks who are into Vikings, they've probably already seen Season 3. I'm kind of a late bloomer trying to catch up here. So,
or what they could do in the meantime is go leave a review for the podcast.
Good idea.
And then come back, fast forward, boom.
We could certainly use the ratings and the reviews.
Go ahead, Russ.
So anyway, I'm trying to think of how, because you haven't seen any of it, so you have no point of reference whatsoever.
I've seen the commercials on the History Channel.
Oh, yeah. So as a very high level synopsis. So obviously the show takes place back when Vikings were around. And it had kind of a Game of Thrones-ish. It's almost like the Diet Coke version of Game of Thrones in a way. It focused on the politics of the Vikings, their culture, their beliefs, that sort of thing. And then it chronicles just where the Vikings went, like the different places that they discovered, the different kingdoms that they raped and pillaged and all that kind of stuff. And so you see all these different places like England, like parts of England that were very much in their beginning stages, or like Paris, that sort of thing. and you see the clash of the religions, you see the clash of the culture themselves, and the characters. There are quite a few characters in there that just are fun to watch. I mean, they all have their own little quirks and their own kind of journey, their hero's journey, and that sort of thing. But in season 3, I'm trying to think of a way how I can say this, because once again, there's just a lot to cover with the show. But essentially, in season 3, there is like you think that there's a character who's going to die, and he ends up using that to his advantage to be able to get into Paris. And so the whole show leaves on a cliffhanger, and then season 4, which is already out on Amazon as well. I mean, I think they're already, if not already, then soon they're going to be showing season 5 on, I guess it's the History Channel or whichever. Is it the History Channel or AMC or?
I think it's the History Channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Anyway, season 4 has 20 episodes. They actually broke up season 4 into 2 parts, which it's surprising because typically there are only 10 episodes in a season. So that's essentially 2 seasons crammed into 1 season. I mean, there's going to be quite a bit of watching going on. But I did enjoy getting back into it. I enjoy getting back into the speed of things and seeing where the characters are going, where they're and just yeah. I mean, I think it's I could use an entire podcast time to try and catch you up on it. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And just say, hey, we both enjoyed it. We're looking forward to continuing the old Viking show.
Okay.
So anyway,
okay.
I'm going to get something over here real quick here. Pardon me. Looks like I'm going to... Yep.
Type away there for us, Russ.
Let's get into some gaming news. How about that?
Okay, man. What you got for us?
Well, first things first, this is something that really grabbed my attention, and I think it's going to grab your attention as well. I'm not going to let you go. Witcher
Yes.
is
Yes.
coming to Netflix.
How can it come to Netflix? They're making a show?
Netflix will develop and produce a new show based on the Witcher saga, the series of 8 novels by Mr. Sapkowski that inspired the critically acclaimed CD Projekt Red RPG game.
Oh, it better. I mean, it can't be like no PG-13.
I don't think it's going to be.
I mean, it can't be. There's a lot in that game.
Well, Mr. Sapkowski, who does not profit from the game series, surprisingly, I thought he would, since he's the one who...
He sold the rights.
Yeah.
He's out of the picture.
He will serve as a creative consultant on the show.
All right, he's getting paid something then.
Yeah. He said, I'm thrilled that Netflix will be doing an adaptation of my stories, staying true to the source material and the themes that I have spent over 30 years writing. I didn't know he was doing it for 30 years. That's a long time. Also, what I thought was cool, too, is that Tomas Baginski, who directed the intro videos for all 3 Witcher games, as well as the Cyberpunk 2077 teaser trailer. Did you ever see the Cyberpunk trailer?
Sure did.
Yeah, that was good. That was arresting. That was super intriguing. He also had previously announced as being the director of a movie version of The Witcher, which I'm not sure what the status of that is, but he will direct at least 1 episode per season for the Netflix show.
Man, that is so awesome. I'm a big fan of The Witcher.
Are you pumped, dude? I was like pumped when I saw that.
So they're just like talking about it. There's no like, okay, we're just going to start casting, whatever.
There's no release date, casting, or further directional choices at this time.
And it's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Man.
Netflix is partner. I mean, Netflix has got it going on.
No,
I mean, they are taking some huge risks, and just whether it's, House of Cards or Orange is the New Black. I mean, they have so many original programming.
And good programming.
It's quality.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're both huge Witcher fans, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. In other news, going back into Overwatch.
Nice.
There is a new art book coming soon. The first is The Art of Overwatch, which is a 9x12 hardcover book that shows off never-before-seen art along with commentary from the game's development team, which will retail for $49.99. And there is a limited edition version, which will also be available. And that comes packaged in a clamshell box with magnetic clasps and includes an acetate slipcover designed after Overwatch cover girl Tracer. A portrait print and 2 landscape prints are included in that particular package.
That's a game that should be a series.
Yeah.
All the characters, they've already said they have background stories and whatnot. Blizzard's already shown they could do animated shorts.
Yeah.
Pixar style.
Yep.
I mean, would that not be successful? Come on. Blizzard, are you listening? Are you listening to Joygasm?
That's right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I'd watch it.
I'd watch it.
Anyway, I was really thrilled about the announcement of the art book because I'm a big, as you know, I'm a big fan of collecting those where like you can see just the different treatments to and concept ideations of the characters and the environments, just seeing the different digital illustrations and the
Oh,
goodness.
Somebody didn't put their phone on Do Not Disturb.
Can you hear? Oh, yeah.
Personality
yeah.
right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'm terribly sorry. I even had it on Do Not Disturb. Can you look at that?
That's what happened to me last time.
Look at that.
Oh, it was Shawnee. Was it Sean?
It was Mr. Boyes. It's Sean Boyes. Perhaps you wanted to call to discuss the possibility of coming on to the show.
Possibly. I might just send him a little text message. That'd be a good idea.
I'll just put this over here like so. Don't worry, Shawnee. I'll call you right back. Love you, buddy.
Just be more time conscious next time.
Anyway, that's something that I have actually already pre-ordered myself. I went on to, you can pre-order it on Amazon, and I wasn't sure just how long that stuff's going to last because any kind of Blizzard license tends to have quite the frothy fan base that they'll just consume anything that they come out with and it doesn't last very long at all. And especially something like that. I was like, okay, done, got my pre-order, and they're already accepting pre-orders. So I thought that was pretty cool. Did you ever play South Park Stick of Truth for Xbox 360?
Negative. Ghost Rider.
The pattern apparently was full? Mm-hmm. So that is a game I would... Okay. Definitely encourage you to play. I have not beat it yet. I've been playing it. It is seriously one of the best games on Xbox 360. Like, it was completely unpredictable. You never know what's going to be said or what's going to happen. It's genuinely funny. It's like you're interacting with a huge South Park episode.
I think I have South Park coming on Nextflix.
Flicks next.
Flicks.
Flick off the
So it's funny because I haven't watched all the South Park episodes, and so they've came out when I was in high school.
Yeah,
and so I'm catching up a lot now. Within this year, and especially last year, I started watching a bunch, and I'm like, thinking, this is funny. You guys seen South Park? Everyone's like, yeah, I've seen that episode 27 times on reruns, Dave. Yeah, I know that. It's not even funny anymore because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I just seen it for the first time.
Well, South Park is a series that you can keep watching over and over and over, and it's just I mean, there are episodes that I've seen literally 20 times and it's still just as funny. I mean, right. It's a riot. Anyway, so even though you haven't played the first game, are you aware that they've been working on a sequel?
Yeah.
Okay. So South Park, The Fractured Butthole, new release date announced. After several delays, South Park, The Fractured Butthole is scheduled. That is such an awesome title.
Right,
it's just puts a smile on my face. After several delays, South Park, The Fractured Butthole is scheduled for release on October 17th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, according to Ubisoft.
They've been talking about that for a while.
They have. I think it was originally scheduled to come out in 2016, but then somehow, I don't know if it was due to some issues with the game design or if Ubisoft just wanted to move and shuffle things around just for their fiscal quarter. I don't know.
I just remember working at Target and getting this video game, the Stick of Truth, for this parent who was buying it for like their 8-year-old kid. And of course, it has a mature rating on there, age 17 and up. And so the mom would look at me and say, why is it mature? Is this not for kids? And so I look at her, and I didn't want to come across as if, like, where have you been the last 10 years, the last decade? Have you never heard of South Park? And so I looked at her just deadpanning it and said, yeah, anything that you don't want your kids to see, it's in this game. Basically, it's an adult game. That's ratings on there for a reason. Cussing, violence, yeah, it's supposed to be comical, but it's all there. And she goes, oh my, you play this, Billions? And the kid goes, yeah. And she goes, well, okay. I'm thinking, good grief, I'd never buy my 8-year-old this game.
One of those parents that are just kind of checked out on parenting.
Same thing would happen with Grand Theft Auto, too.
Really?
Yes.
That's a game that makes me blush, and I'm a full-grown man. So let's see here. Where did I lose my... Oh, okay. So the game will be available in 4 editions. You have Standard, Gold, Steelbook, Gold, and Collector's Editions, which actually was pretty surprising to me. I didn't think that they'd be having that many versions of the game, but I have a feeling that Matt Stone and Trey Parker probably kind of getting into the whole thing. Every time I see them come on stage, you can tell that they've been having a fun learning experience with what all goes into a game, and I'm sure they caught wind of just what all could be placed into like a collector's edition of a game.
Caught wind? Or broke wind, Russ.
Oh.
I had to. Sorry, that was bad.
I'm sure they probably did a little bit of both.
Couldn't let that one go.
In other Ubisoft news, they have revealed 3 new game sequels, one of which that you already alluded to, which is the next Assassin's Creed game. It's the one that takes place in Egypt.
Okay, there we go.
So it's official. We'll probably see that come E3.
You know what I want to see? I want to see the next Far Cry.
Far Cry 5 has also been announced. It's official.
I'm looking forward to that one.
There's also Crew 2, which I never played the original Crew.
That was so.
Okay. Okay. So we should be seeing at least some sort of morsel of teased goodness come E3 when it comes to the new Assassin's Creed game and Far Cry 5. And that's about all the gaming news worth mentioning there, Steve. I do have something funny that once again Bradley had thrown my way. Actually, I gotta bring up the old phone for this one just to make sure. This is actually a really fascinating story in the eye-rolling department.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so GameSpot reported that a man is suing his date.
Oh, I heard about this.
For texting during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it's cool and pathetic at the same time.
Here, I'll just read it for the folks listening here. It's according to this is on GameSpot. It says the issue of texting in theaters has become a controversial one over the past few years. Now the stakes have been raised even higher with the news of a man who is suing his date for excessive texting during the recent Marvel smash Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. As reported by the Austin-based Statesman, 37-year-old Brandon Vesmar filed a claim to recoup the $17.31 he paid for his date's ticket.
And pizza, right? I think it said it was dinner and the movie, but dinner was like pizza.
I'll keep reading here. Let's see if it's in here. The site states that Vesmar met the woman online, and the visit to the theater in Round Rock, Texas, was their first date. In his petition, Vesmar alleges that the woman activated her phone at least 10 to 20 times in 15 minutes to read and send text messages. Vesmar says that she also left the theater after the movie without giving him a lift, and that his subsequent attempts to contact her to get the ticket money refunded were ignored. While damages sought are modest, the principle is important as defendant's behavior is a threat to civilized society, Vesmar states in his petition. The statesman contacted the woman who did not know about the claim and asked for her name not to be used. She told the site, "This is crazy. I had my phone low and I wasn't bothering anybody. It wasn't like constant texting. I'm not a bad woman. I just went out on a date."
It's the principality, Smokey.
Yeah. So yeah, they didn't go into detail about the pizza thing, but it's just bizarre and amusing at the same time. Like I kind of applaud the guy because that is one of the biggest issues I do have with going into a theater is just if someone is talking on their phone or they're constantly texting, it's like, why are you here? Get out. There's no reason for you to be here. But at the same time, it's one of those things where like you dream of something like that happening when you go on a first date based off of like an online find. You know, you meet somebody online,
Right.
They want to schedule a meet and greet, get together first date, and then it's just bizarre on both sides where it just, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of wonder if there's going to be a second date because that would be a huge twist in the story if he's going to like take her to small claims court for $17.34. And then she pays him back and he looks, "So, what are you doing Friday night? You want to go out to see another movie or something?"
It's like watching a train wreck happening in slow motion. I just don't.
But it brings up a point, Russ.
I mean, if he wants to get the girl, that's not how you do it.
He probably wasn't interested in her. I mean, let's be real. But that brings up a point. A good point.
Is it a pointy point?
Pointy point.
Is it a sharp point? Or is it a dull point?
A little of both. The theater experience. Now, you go into a theater and you want the good sound and the good picture, right? Mm-hmm. What you cannot control is the audience. Is the audience going to smell? Are they going to spill their drink on you? Are they going to reek of coffee, cigarettes, and stale popcorn like they did with when I saw the show? Okay? There's a lot of it you can't control. Are people going to talk and then cut up during the movie when you're paid money to have a good time?
Having lots of hot sex in the back.
Jeez. Some of us don't go to cheap theaters, Russ, okay? So,
Which theater were you in?
you guys were quiet back there. Anyway.
I stepped in something sticky.
Yeah, I can't move. And that's the other thing. I mean, the theaters can only get so clean and people start cutting up and there's a lot of that you cannot control.
Yeah.
Versus, I mean, how great is the picture at home? We got 1080p Blu-ray and we got 4K now. I mean, light years ahead of these projectors and theaters. You got to pay top dollar to see something like, 1080p at least, or DLP, or even, IMAX is definitely worth it. Mm-hmm. But with your home theater system and your big screen TV and your speakers and your control of the environment, wouldn't you much rather have that than go to the theater? That's what the theater has to compete with.
Yeah.
And what if, like we were talking about Netflix, what if in the future, instead of going to the movie theater,
the theater comes to
the
us?
theater goes to you.
Oh, man.
Okay? That would be just amazing. So that's plan A. As I hold my hand over the microphone.
No. He said what?
So that's plan A. Plan B, what they would have to do, just to get people coming back to the theater, is make it like holographic or something, or more 3D than it is now, because too many people have the issue, like myself, have issues with the lighting and the 3D. I get headaches. I'm not paying extra money to go see 3D.
Do you get a little queasy when you're in there?
I do.
You just sit there and you're like,
Did you see that? No. What? Can you rewind it?
hey, that looks like a hot dog mixed with popcorn.
Because it is. But you see where I'm going.
I see where you're coming and you're going.
So, I mean, if I'm going to pay 10, 12, whatever the movie's tickets are going up to, $15 per ticket, I want a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, getting back to the
No!
at hand, though.
We're going to handle this now.
You're way over in left field. I don't know where he's going off somewhere. The whole prognosis is just definitely amusing to see that. I mean, if you had to guess, do you think that there would be a second date?
In this day and age, there might be.
You've had a lot of points this evening, Steve, and I'd say that was definitely another good pointy point.
A little duller than the rest, but still a point.
You were very on point to make that point, Steve.
That's a good insight, Dwight.
Well, anyway, I think that's a good stopping point for episode 6. We're very happy and thrilled and just filled with giggles and titters that you joined us for this episode. When you get a chance, though, please leave a rating/review on this podcast, as all that goes to helping us build visibility as well as our grand plan to be able to conquer the world. So, in addition to that, if you would like to leave comments for us or constructive criticisms, that sort of thing, you can find us on Twitter at Joygasm TV. You can also find us on Facebook.com /Joygasm TV. We're also on SoundCloud at SoundCloud.com/Joygasm TV. So until next time, stay off of page 2. And as always, happy gaming.
See you later.